technology that strategic industries. Also, 5G raise offense a balance of war, power. The board get 19 and 5G have strategic implication of manufacturing companies to desist with them. Espionage Huawei as a handed over Chinese, a lot of which Huawei is subordinate communications and ability precision targeting US pursuing allies of the permanent Chinese telecoms many reviews ban. US should use market sense make. You make for others more combined portfolio will have to use effects on the power. Chinese 5G supremacy going to war. Connect 18. Shifts in balance of power and money affected by Chinese heavily that can be decided for the future warfare, including my 5G, but the Beijing may will initiate Taiwan bring nuclear arms into our conflict. There's inherent and ways of nuclear conflict through the Belgium should be externally in from the escalation watching the losing technology. So that's why I'm seeing my nuclear arm again. Agricultural and sustainable colony technician ski gun in Morandi 22, and then with a crisis supply chain discussion, joining resources concerned for the global new technologies address, position farming optimism, carbon soil harm, health, one sustainability, and ways to work and protect scrub humors and irrigation fertilization increase yield. Only SCPs disperse tech industry wide in self-innovation, but Nario at all 125. Smart ag so much of the SCPs does more from a system and irrigation, the AI, IoT, big data, and all the analytics. And the tech often affected by SCPs, a lot of reshape for landscape and farming economies. Disruption causing global food insecurity, US is key. 2017 US trade global food insecurity, US is was super product, global food action, under disruption, US supply casting, gravity, causes shocks, expenses during the wait, or the to point our people yet. The crisis was isolated. Food insecurity goes nuclear, cargo 22, plus the rise of globally conflict will follow geopolitical perfect battle and new security threats as well as dooms for country defending protection to issues, free prices, and massive disruptions. As a bird that will take advantage of country war, and the next reason my pondering or power, Russia, China, US, Europe, the golden superhouse for the critical for war, wars, and will come nuclear. The plan solves it, strengthens influential remedies for SCP holders attempting to negotiate licensing. Additionally, the plan provides legal justification for its action that bodily establishes and influences a new legal approach and instantly patents from antitrust scrutiny of what is 24. Antitrust married to further escalate and by increasing the protection, antitrust is going to scale level suggest religious strategies and essentially innovation and innovation and antitrust by the process as like a small companies benefit from IP protection. Antitrust make encourages improving practices and program allegation and conflict between SCP holders and influence or since that allows things to get down to SCP holders and release to issue weapons as the SCP holders rise account with everyone as antitrust weapon. We cannot be our interest as a police to different interference with a friend of these should not be presumption either market power and compensation by companies with SCPs to govern interest everyone should result in SCPs to disputes between resolve is about how law the approach of partners and against roughly means SCPs hold rights and thus access and effectively holdups arise more than holdups. Illegal currently constitutes optimist have been invaded and the disruption and it's like for these levels innovation return pattern holders from agents that oath and effectively becomes unavailable whenever punches elections and the agency agrees to be bound by that. I believe the plan. The United States federal government should expand injunction as a remedy to infringements of patents. Advantage to its farmer. The Federal Trade Commission is excellent in farmer patent scrutiny, for example, voluntary joint voice jobs made alike for 24 the FTC, and regarding antitrust oversight of farmer, to prevent anti-competitive summons created amidst also to deter reverse payment summons, FTC is the end of the scrutiny about farmer patents. Court clarity over listing removes ambiguous and subject to interpretation for the all 24 FTC continues essential regulatory against farmer patents intelligent 100. That's any second one on one day, or the antitrust market could be possible only to take a patent from the form of drug, single results in antitrust part the market could be co-accepted with the patent. Rigorous antitrust screening culture patent gloves and health renovation must have been all 19. FTC and both agreeing with FDA's drugs companies that certified is no longer worth having. FTC makes the fellows world to only answer and more hostile to its own law. At least some nations short and long term, where courts not agree that FTC action making very difficult to settle litigation with antitrust, which has a very raising issues. FTC will reach a second investment development neighbors that they have the new drugs. Several impacts for innovation, laws work, and preemptive vaccine development that provides pandemics and ensures effective budget. Right to response marginovic and Page 20. The urgency of the scale of the crisis spotlights. The forbidden companies from effective medicine from as well as an exponential effort to avert the disease by terrorism, AML, and all need innovation listing human life, and risk of the speed of escalation of the process. This is an industry factor that may not be managed in the short term, but can escalate better vaccine, data point, and inaugurate vaccine diplomacy that substantiation causes 21, and the space to change leading new order posing on stability drug board that can like counter human migration, the megatrends that you come down and climate change are job nagging vaccine diplomacy, atomic crisis, rise in the great explosion of physical determinants or instable migration, urbanization, linking biomedical and social sciences, vaccines to stabilize our remote supply and defender, force the war, and grace and invention, the cool way to enemies to put aside in mass to call over the polio, pandemics and little future diseases will be more lethal, just makes you cover is met with the collaboration of risk of another pandemic is increasing urbanization, climate change by form of sure, but it saves other which the help and freeze over time the probably grow with the most of decades united as well as conversation have it as section placing humans in orders close to conversation tabloids the threat high mutation the virus transmissibility extinction comes 21 epidemics on human life is on the spread of disease and brain discovered that assimilation revealing the risk of disease infect all notes and these heavily extinction emergencies and frequently human extinction is believed causing this multiplexing of effect large population risk increasing mobility exchanges spread without being 50% previous studies did not conduct quantity assessment. We consider various disease characteristics as results of extinction. It causes overreaction that culminates in nuclear biochemical wars to Dookie 21. Pretty much the same for wars spread with disability, mobility, women's causing global winter and maceration of entire species crisis, promote aggressive action that displays balances, stoicism, underpinned by nuclear weapons, as well as the chemical biological technology, risk increase in sharply pandemic, and the creating anti-existence opportunities, which is first like is covered borders, that's the name, trade budgets, and policy become national, is the case getting risk of war. Knowing national field on US global former effectiveness, with 24 former revenues, and guys, I kind of have the global war fight of the top 10 more funding is captured dominant, sure the US counter 40% of the working 20% of the action, the funds figured to increase significantly, like 15 seconds.
Yeah, you got lucky. My computer died.
That's my first one I see I've read in like at least a few months.
Computer could not reach.
Okay, are you good?
Can we wait for Fox's computer?
First?
Can we wait for
let's get
OJ? Where did he go? There he is. I literally couldn't see you.
It's because the seat is too short.
Can we wait for Fox's computer to turn on?
I get pizza last.
Oh, I'm gonna get pizza as well.
That's why I'm never trying to last one and last resort on time. Take some time to clean up by no restore confidence channel weaker. Chronic corruption persists so stage from risking collection next in years second. General side of their learning pockets is as I've confidence 5 and wars club 16 research not in a link between insecurity confident money countries without shocks without confident whether combined with other structures of other countries have strong institutions of providing help equipped to citizens Mexico Philippines institutional strength existed to deal with shocks periods and not really deteriorating security farm advantage. One vaccine diplomacy fails, Smith 14, mechanisms through which central diplomacy creates international cooperation underspecified. But diplomacy does not explain how this attraction is leveraged. It seems unlikely, especially if we consider public understanding of science. Public diplomacy have the opposite effect. It inadvertently undermine trust. 2 past diseases appear no extinction, COVID, Spanish flu, etc. 3 dead disease in back 420. Global pandemic, more short of 30 humanity, biological theories suggest that the drawing of the lead to extinction, anti-correlation between infection and sending this down to extreme rarity. This often more virulent civilization recover not out of precipitate collapse, making through events, even if global strongest against existential risk, and also risk above 1% is incompatible with how long humanity lasted. Foreign diseases, wars, pandemics, will incentivize cooperation and conflict, and most countries will turn inward to COVID thumbs. I have 20 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the status first.
Status of the off.
Condition.
Can you pick planks?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start on the executive plan. So you're returning to the DOJ's 2019 survey before they revoked it?
Yeah.
Okay, how does this account for Biden putting in Khan, who is issuing pro-antitrust regulations specifically against big tech?
Yeah, that's the point. The executive branch, specifically Khan and the FTC, are going more pro-antitrust. The counterplan reverses that to 2019, before Khan, before Biden, when they were...
The problem is that Biden has issued statements telling these agencies to do the things. We fiat that they don't do them anymore.
Okay, sure.
Why wouldn't investors be uncertain that like a Democratic election nomination would just roll back the presentations like Biden already did?
Durable fiat, first off, but second off...
But that doesn't
Trump's
resolve
probably-
uncertainty.
Trump's
Investors don't know about durable fiat.
Trump's probably going to win the election also. Like if
But
they
like
just
in the
keep,
next
if they just
100
keep the
years.
guidance the same, then it solves everything. The problem in the status quo is that they have retracted all guidance they have ever put out. There is no guidance right now in the status quo under these agencies. The counterplan puts guidance out that they're going back to the 2019 rules.
That also probably links back to, yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about prices counterplan. How do you determine who gets the prize?
If the U.S. would probably ask for an invention, specifically like disease innovation or 5G,
Okay, sure.
and then whoever has the best innovation.
Do you have to show
they
prior
will.
success to get a prize?
It has to be a successful innovation, yeah.
How do you determine success? It hasn't been implemented yet.
What do you mean?
Okay, like
Like I think the government knows if like an invention is going to be useful or not if
How?
it like meets their needs.
Okay,
Like if they're asking for like 5G technology.
But yeah, wait. Before 5G, there was 2G, 3G. How did the government know that 5G was going to succeed?
What?
Okay, sure. On patents, bad. What's your internal link to Dewan? Or like Dewan is just that like.
Yeah, the Dewan evidence basically says that patents create a monoculture in cybersecurity because it allows one like company or one specific innovator to take over that entire sector. They'll become less innovative because they're not competing with anyone.
Okay, sure. Is the internal link just that like NC3 gets cyber attacked?
Not necessarily just NC3, but like systems get cyber attacked. They rely on false info,
Okay.
fog of war.
What are the other internal links to nuclear war for that scenario?
I mean, they attack nuclear systems. They give them false information, misperception.
Okay, sure. You're China losing the 5G races in the context of Biden prosecuting Huawei doesn't fly if we have Trump come back in.
Well, first of all, Trump is not back in. Second of all, Trump
Biden do
would
anything
probably
right now?
Trump would probably be better for that because he's historically and obviously anti-China, anti-Huawei.
Okay, sure. How is your past disease evidence? How is this predictive of new
The Ord
diseases?
evidence talks about how historically epidemics never ever reach
Okay,
an
yeah,
existential
sure. How is
risk
it
in
predictive?
even
Does it make any claims that future pandemics will cause the same?
The prizes, ban patents, etc. counterplan, other advantage counterplan, racial IR, econ, sue spawn. Chinese 5G leadership ensures nuclear war. Leadership undermines balanced power and triggers invasion of Taiwan. Screwing food insecurity causes nuclear war. Ensures powers like Russia and China take advantage of instability and generate civil crises that escalate. That's Caragul. I'll do the patents bad stuff here. Levine is wrong when royalties that are good is the only way inventors get profit. That progress from 2G to 5G through 2 trolls are unsustainable and too small. Merit and have 18. The magnitude of PA plus legal costs are small and not consistent with high policy innovation tax. PA lose money. 3 empirics they go away light bulbs. Machine guns, steam engine, iPhones, Microsoft all were incentivized by patent rights and still had mass competition. The impact specifically is just a reason why patents are bad. There's no reason the app specifically would affect patents in the area of cybersecurity. No impact. A cyber attackers seek to avoid escalation. The US is willing to attack lose 20. There are powerful 3D constraints on those with the ability to launch counter attacks. Non-state actors most states like the capacity to launch attacks cause physical damage at any level. States' ability to attribute that they're only willing to risk massive retaliation. No ever after their attack force. The year goals are way low. The will not start a war. The custody scenarios discount the robustness and resilience of our economics. These economies surround multiple targets and configuration. Their harder damage through the cyber attack experience shows that people compensate for damage and quickly repair or rebuild. The impact requires cyber attack to occur in the first place, but no evidence that that will occur. 1MC2, branch just says Huawei stats. It's the internal link, they are up. Our evidence in 2023, they are up. There are other companies that solve and the US is behind and China independently invest. 1MC3, they already do. China is revisionist. Their actions in the SEC preceded US rhetoric and Taiwan, etc. prove. 1MC4, no reason why the rocket force is key. Innovation solves and it's fixed. They're problematic. The problems that their card list says is here to solve them. 1MC5, Cliff says nothing. People fight before starting a war and the impact is drawn, which the card does not respond to. Advantage 2. Vaccine diplomacy prevents extinction, linked by medical and social science, and increases self-power, which keeps self-warming, disinformation, and instability. That's how it has indeed spread. That's central. Studies prove they blow past barriers, and defense doesn't assume globalization, new bioengineered pandemics. That's Kim. 1NC1 says science diplomacy impact. The impact is vaccine diplomacy. Obviously, that's different because it gives the U.S. self-power because of power over vaccines, and countries afraid of not being able to sustain pandemics. 1NC2, our evidence is predictive. Theirs is descriptive. 1NC3 are answered on the overview, but it's not predictive. 1NC4 causes miscalculation, leaders die, etc. T subsets. We made a plain text vacuum be functionally the app effects throughout the area of patent law. In can mean subsets, KC9, and with the bounce out inside and does not require completely and continuous inside of something else. We revert after on there, turbo only lasts 6 mass VAF, the loose random disads, it picks on its sun, B limits, red topic education by allowing a maximum of 6 stats. Predictability, no interp has it, the intent to exclude, which means the process size, and it's from the common source, which is an actual dictionary. 4 functional limits, K, process, counterplans, patents bad, politics, econ, TL, provide ample ground, and prevent crazy ass from developing. 5, reasonability, calls substance crowd. A spec, USFG is our agent, further specification, has no resolutional basis, and leads to bad agent counterplans, the advantage counterplan. Do both, do the app, and any combination of the blank. New 1AR answers are justified because there's no solvency advocate for any of them. Though substantially increased cooperation, blank fails because the cooperation isn't working in the status quo for allies. That's our evidence. The use positive inducement stuff fails because it decreases market competition, which is key to developing 5G technology as proven by countries like the USSR. The arms control blank, I have no idea what this blank means, but other countries still develop technologies, which means it doesn't solve the impact. The international food blank fails. There's no solvency advocate, which means no one knows what it does, which means fails for vagueness. Doubling investments does nothing because markets are key. I already did that above. The dark blank does nothing because tech to prevent the new pandemic doesn't exist without the app. The mandate quarantine isolation in the case of an epidemic already failed during COVID. It obviously links to net benefit because it would require money to do these things, which means it links to the econ dissent. And it would overturn democracy by mandating quarantine and isolation. The executive counterplan. Perm do both shields the internal perm of the counterplan. It's the way the plan can be done. Plan 16, retain the IP protection includes laws, regulation, and court decisions. Stratified because agent counterplan shifted debate from topic education on predictable agents. The deck app prep fairness. It links to that benefit because it would still do the plan and it would revoke a previous court ruling, which means it would undermine sua sponte and judicial legitimacy. It can't solve a clarity. Agencies only resolve their uncertainty. Courts are an independent all cause. Their agencies can't resolve, and industries will still be scared because they make the final decision. That's born out and purchase, be strike down. Courts will still rule out of favor of injunctive relief, even if the FTC and GOG are fine with the next president just overturn the rulings. And leaders don't know about durable fiat. See flip-flop, only statute changes. Resolve the uncertainty by agencies of the court and the status quo. The counterplan just looks like another win. That's 4. The price counterplan. Do both shields net benefit to the counterplan. It's the way the plan can be done. Links to net benefit. Causes mass printing. Okay. The trade secrets plank, that's status quo. People still do it, and companies just go offshore to do trade secrets. From the and abolish patents. Obviously, if they're right, the companies want monopolies and patents. They'll just go offshore to solve them, which means the current plan is the worst of all the world. The prizes can't solve innovation. Putting the invention in public domain immediately is bad. Weekends follow innovation. Hilton 23. After the patent has been granted, the patentee is able to work with other complementary scales to optimize social surplus. The right is included in the public domain. Otherwise, mismanaged individuals would take control and the patents will recur. The inventor would have we consider to the idea patents would not be able to serve this particular function. Innovation be copied. Further investments, no uncertainty. Even if they're right, the price is solved just as well as patent. Investors don't perceive it that way and start investing offshore. See corruption, spoil routine. Central planners would need knowledge about science, tech to choose the best. Central planners inform challenges, insurmountable differences, historical performance, or permanence, and innovative injuries. Central planners suffer corruption, bureaucratic efficiency, and surprises would encourage rent seeking, diverting away from innovation and for legal interest agencies to pursue objectives and efficiency to market. Turns prices and select the best. Government planning fails, calculating the value of the prize is impossible. Solvency. Can't solve a follow-on. Companies will develop tech but won't share. That collab already did this above. And beat corruption. Money will go to large non-innovative companies. Count 15. By picking winners and losers, government open the door for innovative technology while selling when the process fails to equate. It's a transparent objective. Creates ruminants on certain market. Sidewalls for taking inventions. Spending the recipe erroneous. Some companies hire lobbyists, direct large ads, and funds to distribute those with political route rather than promising effective tech. Politicians fear public outcry. Go to racial error. Framework with the app against links to the plans, via limitations, anything else arbitrary, unpredictable, moves the entire 1AC, fairness, the only impact, and questions that offense, pretty both are the ones linked so they all can solve. Rest of it, it's justified because the perp is proven by the impact that econ disad is literally Western superiority in China. Extinction outweighs causes unquantifiable suffering and precludes alternatives, including decay. No link Hobson is coherent. Realism is something that is used by non-Western states to predict how other states act too. Realism obviously not assumes that all states act the same way, regardless of what race runs them. Any other interpretations obviously rooted in world racism. Realism developed based on studies of empirics and learning from past mistakes, not to enforce Western cultural superiority. That's proven because it's mostly used as an analysis to contra other European nations. They all can't solve it. The app doesn't replace litigation, suit presumption. Hermeneutic suspicion fails to identify and change the balance over pragmatic politics to alleviate material violence. That was 15. Hermetic suspicion run out of steam. Learning becomes the everything. The reveal agents, then dark critiquing is unveiling only. Critics see as accident people. Does not explain the accidentals, not stable theory. Produces determination practices and assume politics from this eliminated arises fundamentally separation, social and material, underestimated difficulty doing quality separation used to explain. Tapping criticism unveils and explains regardless of actors. So it comes complicated present fact matters are partial call within logic arguing matters fact parts about fabricated and tracing experimentation in the acting of the public. Econ dissent. Growth is unsustainable. Demand 73 has to be 500 BC highs. AI keeps stocks and wearing out. Benchmark 77 to 100,000. It's AI has to be bubble doesn't pop. Price bubbles are going around AI. And bears will immutable effect market. This has capacity or markets too bullish. Be close to the peak of inflated expectation while falls next pessimism. Link turn monopolies are inevitable. Have society's test to be only providing certainty to industries and simplified tech trends, standardization or innovation. That's more nuts. Be innovation thump below. Now status quo uncertainty is shield investment innovation broadly, which means the app can only be positive. That's cursed in Portuguese. It's done by pre-Biden when antitrust enforcement virtually zero. The impact the app solves is just about innovation leadership, which they conceded the internal links for the app solvency only read impact defense means that the defense applies the disad or the app solves the impact. Patent holdup is a lie. Antitrust policy of greater threat. Born 18. Patent holdup rests on questionable models, consistent data, and tech industry. No app study demonstrated patent relief after result in harm, slowing down innovation. Heavy burden risk on patent holdup to offer support, which they failed to supply decades. Since other studies demonstrate that patent tech industries constant lower prices or competition, higher standard, finding contradict theory overwhelming evidence, lies on negotiated repudiation, natural checks and balances, set rates of greater concern, negative antitrust based upon theoretical concern. Immaterial says nothing. Yeah, if we want patent holdup is wrong, then it takes out the sui spawn. No link courts would just issue rid of Sutorium, require lower courts to hand them down in case 5 result link specifically they can rule over a court, Apple Link, etc. They'll always find a case, Palso 2000 cases during a docket, every issue is available, they just have the ability to signal. Litigants bring certain cases, they'll repeat players, different cases, and make litigation justifiability issues to make them minimum of its issues they seek to address. 2 thumps, sui spawn, now Jackman 21, surprising current events, 11 circuit issues to respond after a judge requests to uphold the order expressly vacated the existing pen, 3 judges to low now, abortion rights, Chevron, gun laws, redlining, Trump cases, etc. All ruin credibility, 4 no impact, the issue still works even if it's not perceived Pacific, and other branches solve the impacts. And the cross. And you're going to have to say the time. It's true for turn.
Is he from the
Yeah.
Are you good?
He always is. Yes, I'm good.
Alright, sua sponte, Jackman evidence is about rehearing a case, not deciding a case sua sponte. How does it apply?
Because the AF would be rehearing past injunctive cases.
No, but it decides a case sua sponte, which is not, which the link is about deciding a case sua sponte. You've got evidence that they rehear it. How is that the same as the link?
Because, what? I don't understand the question. Obviously, if the court has already existed in the status quo, the court is just redetermining what the ruling was. That's not sua sponte because the case precedent already exists.
Executive counterplan, like, why do the courts rule on antitrust grounds now?
What?
Like, why do the courts rule? Like, why do the courts themselves rule on antitrust grounds now?
I don't understand the question.
I mean, like, they obviously get guidance from like other branches of the government, like the FTC and DOJ. Why would they still rule in favor of antitrust in the world of the counterplan?
Why would they still rule?
It doesn't have to be something for antitrust, just that there would be a test case.
I'm
regarding-
confused by this question. The argument on the counterplan was that it reduces uncertainty because investors don't know about durable fiat, and that the next presidential election will overturn it.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm talking about the strike down. Why would the court still strike it down? And
Oh,
the
you're talking about strike down.
And the DOJ already gave out guidance saying that they are allowed, that there is injunctive relief, basically.
Well, because it would directly contradict past court rulings.
What?
Okay, there's actually a double bind here. Either the link to the dissat is right, and the app directly overturns past court rulings, which is sua sponte, which means the counterplan would also be struck down.
Besides the point.
Or there's no link to the dissat.
That's. I guess patent's bad or patent's good. Why? Or the Trolls evidence just says that it's not consistent with hypothesis, or is it taking account Wait.
This is specific to PAEs, and it says that
Right,
trolls
it's
do
literally a
not have
one-liner that says it's not consistent with the hypothesis. How is it taking account things that Google and large companies bracketing out
It says that there are no innovation taxes. That directly answers the claim in the 1ACL.
Sure. I guess sua sponte, AliveCore and Apple Inc. is a case about PTAB, not antitrust. How is that how does it apply
The
to the
Pascal
app?
card? Or
No. You said you'll rule on the course AliveCore and Apple. That's about PTAB, not antitrust. How does it apply?
Well, that's the court that we could rule.
Exactly.
the case.
How is that related to antitrust? It's about PTAB invalidations.
I don't know. We can just pick a new court case.
So it doesn't apply.
But maybe it does. I don't know every single court case.
Well, you
that's ever
listed
been
it.
ruled on.
I'm just saying
So
you listed
I
it.
would assume that this is relevant to the app.
Okay. The always find a case just says generally they can find cases that are relevant to what they want. Do you have evidence saying that they have a case specifically for the app?
Well, obviously, if courts can find a case on literally anything, that means they can find a case specific to the app.
Okay, you can start right. Okay, orders, executive counterplan, 1-2.
Executive kind of like 1, 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of fire.
The doc's allowed order because I didn't want to crowd it. That's fine.
I'm good whenever everyone else is.
Okay, y'all both got it, right?
Hold on a second.
No? It's inside.
What's the order?
Executive counterplan, advantage 1, advantage 2.
Wow. That's a powerful move. That's not a powerful move.
Okay, you got that, Henry?
Yeah.
Folks.
The counterplan solves the case and avoids link to sua sponte decided fiancé antitrust agency stop discouraging SEP and Chunks by issuing guidance. The counterplan has the DOJ, PTO, and NIST reinstate their 2019 policy statement from under Trump, and the FTC stops antitrust scrutiny for patents that clarifies the uncertain part of the law and expands the access to the exclusionary orders. That's 20C tenants that solves every 20C inerrancy card points to the executive branch harden their stance against SEPs, but the counterplan reverses that. No necessity for war action to transfer sufficiency solvency may be inverted with this necessarily outweighs the deficit. Second judge kick if it would perms or links in that, but if it 2AC1 is due both links to the decided. There was no above that shields arguments in the 2AC the after bring up the test case, but the counterplan definitely wouldn't to do the 2AC2 is due to counterplan severs first actually. The counterplan says almost none of the words in plan second functionally only the court can expand injunction as remedy for infringement. Severance is bad. We talk neck ground by making the app conditional if they don't sever, but neg on topicality for A protection. Top glass must be the words protection IPR until judicial enforcement exclusive rights to hypercharging. The 12 infringement on cases where a person not the other rights to exercise exclusive rights to the direction. It will be treated as office to judicial enforcement. B, the United States is singular, now referring to it as a law. However, 94 singular refers to just one name rather than a collection. The United States then be singular. Third, C, the requires all of the Supreme Court. Kentucky 3, whether it's said to requires that the ultimate matter is to construction. The article D is significant because some of it, not all, is not satisfied. The rear reference to group is all of the have a significant effect on the BD used indicates the entire body and not the discrete part. Third position, they said the app is course and cross-sex of positional competition. Good. Anything else that's contravening. No one you see to render a counterplan
counterplanes non-competitive, shift them into the plan, post-hoc in the weeds. Topicality violations, 2AC3s, agent counterplanes bad, they're good. Interpretation, executive counterplane is the only legitimate agent counterplane. The topic preferred, first neg flex, 3 topic years, and then unifying generic make the agent counterplane is key to get the neg back in the game. Second neg negation theory, competition versus logical opportunity cost, and need only. Never not use better and mutually exclusive to win, and then when you see third education for the after a robust offensive agent to encourage deeper research and real world IP debates, includes questions of actors, a valuable discussion to have. A fourth reciprocal. They make deficits based on court action to the counterplanes, reciprocal cost, they should bear fit arbitrary non-resolution theory. Is unpredictable after overgate theory violation, margin better for debatability, steamroll the neck ground. Grounds of substance involved in the theory, English theory debates, which are work for both sides fit as 6, no offense, interrupts all sharing this competition. Almost at the most egregious counterplanes, you get Congress, key and executive course, key warrants, and internally defense and turns to the theory. The next argument is links in that benefit wrong. The counterplane does not pull up a test case because it issues guidance to district courts, not to the Supreme Court, which means it necessarily wouldn't have to pull up the test case. They said certainty. The counterplane solves or clarity. The counterplane solves uncertainty. It is occurring because the antitrust agency haven't released guidance. The counterplane explicitly issues guidance that's tennis. The Crown Plan clarifies everything when secure since 22 in 2013 the DOJ did noted the injunctive relief may be appropriate remedy in 2019. There's a 20 DOJ and the PTO no further clarification 2019. 21 DOJ statement discouraged injunctive relief period uncertainty policy effectively reduces CBs that are drafted under IPO distinguish our bipartisan group about the opposition. The FTC is the key barrier. Carson 22 FTC has made it clear to consider seeing adjusted to link a license that to be a violation and judicial laws. FTC's position are problematic and littered. It's a little bit of a bad call to address how the remedies and SEP West Indies statement that go for another SEG older than no guidance that's resulting in a negative impact on innovation. The next step is strike down, but the next president is just as likely to strike down to do the AF as they are now to strike down the counterplan, which means that Trump could be able to solve all the AF's impacts, but also the steps is uncarded and unwarranted. The agencies are one causing the problems the counterplan solves. They have no reason why the courts will strike them down. Third, the counterplan resulting in less antitrust cases would mean the court doesn't have a chance to strike it down. Fourth, the durable fiat solves ensures full implementation of the counterplan without interruption from the other branches. Otherwise, every half loses on face the rollback. And the last argument of split flop, no warrant. That was also answered above on clarity stuff because it's the same warrant. Standards. We're straight turning both advantages internally to both as innovation will win patents over square patents. Tank innovation by monopolizing innovations first royalties acquiring rights in the patents are required though paying the owner, which acts as a tax on innovation. We would have no modern software software patenting existed earlier. That's Levine answers their empirics argument. Second tickets. The market is saturated with patents that causes trolls and infringement litigation. They unique 19 the litigation the market is saturated with a patent that can increase the odds of innovator accidentally infringing for the innovator that exists in a figurative raise the cost of innovation that is greater instead of wage litigation and de-weaponize the pre-existing cost of innovation to discourage on investment. Third, cross-licensing companies log up new entrants in the market which establishes innovation. That's Levine. Fourth, startups Robinson 21 studies uncovered reality number small is by its limited data suggests that patent gives not a robust patent gives concentrated around correlations in number by four and can do to increase the determinant the learning business way lateral innovation ecosystem small business are many of the largest leaps in the industry. Fifth, trolls answers their card the 19 also deters innovation average damage with physically negative firms that have spending on R&D in countries that oppose high cost and innovation about availability of advice ways to weight and extraordinary cost by waging patent litigation to track settlements. The peak competition of innovators place R&D in countries with less patent enforcement. Their card is just a one-liner that was in cross-ex, but their empirics evidence is wrong. Empirics go our way. That was above. They can see the cyberlink plan causes cyber vulnerabilities by creating tag cultures of patents create monopolization over technology, which weaken cyber competition would otherwise encourage firms to develop better products by being collapsed as tech security, because when the tech is uniform and less secure, it's how far easier to hack. They said that they're inevitable, but the plan says patents broadly, which means that they would strengthen patents broadly, but also the counterplan that creates uniqueness, which would be in the 1 and R. No defense cyber attacks outweigh the threshold for winning an impact is low because the attacks cause different escalation and infinite nuclear wars. They escalate every hotspot that turns case for 5G attacks. Actually, the defense systems to miscalculate an accidental first strike, such as a group and target critical infrastructure caps. Don't do well for size of this, but we'll given the critical pressure predicts to give energy institutes energy infrastructure over conflicts without the cyber case. Conflict the nuclear power, the cyber capability, everyone should be anxious to avoid our price spikes. Avenge profit. Or actually, that's not this one. China's behind 5G first sanctions. U.S. diplomatic efforts and sanction have exhausted while ways of limited supplies to meet their second aviation. Canada and European countries are walking away from pressure from Trump. That's the brand evidence. Doesn't matter if he's not in office. There's pressure. They just said that they're revisionists, but know that They're behind in 5G structurally, which doesn't respond to our warrant that no 5G China 5G impact technologies are driven by domestic economic interest, state capacity, and political norms of leadership, and incentivize our veteran desire for digital authoritarianism, drive 5G innovation that's Rubin of revisionism is uncarded and just and warrantless all causes. 3D printing, hypersonic, quantum, and AI could also trigger the impact of that's the crowding evidence. And cause zero says in the app would increase innovation in those areas of technology, which means they can't solve no China war impact. The PLA has been slow in modernization because of deep corruption. China has to restore confidence in the rocket force and root out corruption, which prevents you from taking Britain in the next 10 years. That's Sean. They said then no evidence the rocket force is key. There are evidences about the PLA broadly, and says the rocket force is undermining, causing corruption within it broadly. No food wars impact. There's no internal link. It's yard zero. Says they're removing anti-trust scrutiny creates agricultural innovation. They've highlighted the cars to shreds. That was when you see cross-links. No food wars. Studies show there's no link between food and conflict because other factors like institutional strength matter more in the countries than why most on food production and strong institutions stopping international insecurity. That's Cliff. The countries that the escalate don't have Duke says when you see Carol evidence, and there's absolutely zero scenario for drawing, which is their only answer to their card. Name drops global super browsers without getting a coherent scenario farm advantage. No vaccine diplomacy impact of science diplomacy doesn't create international cooperation or build goodwill. If anything, undermines trust in the public's mind because they destroy trust of the other countries for random response. That Smith and just said our card is about vaccine diplomacy, but it explicitly is, and it talks about vaccines. Their evidence is a laundry of no warrants or terminals, and more vaccine doesn't necessarily cause vaccine diplomacy because the app doesn't catalyze diplomatic relations. No disease impact first and their correlation. Pandemics can cause distinction because other ones lethal enough to all burn out before preventing sex. Second, the civilization always recovers COVID, Spanish flu, etc. Peru. Third, fossil records. They proving that even a 0.1% chance of extinction is too high. That's or.
Okay, can I have a timer? The Robinson card.
Where is that?
Pat's bad. It says in the unhighlighted, ununderlined portion that the patent system refers to private actors, blah, 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 and that the founders of the United States recognize the importance of providing sufficient incentives to stimulate innovation. The system does this by granting inventors a limited monopoly in exchange for disclosure of their inventions. The country benefits from the disclosure of inventions that may eventually be used by the public. Inventors benefit by obtaining an exclusivity period within which they can commercialize their inventions without interference from competitors. Thus, inventors are the main actors and stakeholders in the U.S. patent system. How does this not contradict the rest of Pat's bad term?
It concludes at the bottom that data suggests that startups would be harmed by patents. And that's
it concludes at the bottom that startups are not applying for patents enough, but it says in the card that it would be better if startups were applying for patents more. How does that not answer the term?
No, it says that data suggests that patenting is not robust amongst small businesses.
Okay,
which
you're
means
wrong.
That they are
the most patents are
basically,
uncommercialized evidence,
of
Robinson.
getting
If patents are uncommercialized, doesn't that mean that there's no risk of a lack of injunctions? Like this card says that patents
That
are...
makes no sense. So our argument for patents uncommercialized is that companies don't bring their patents to, their inventions to the market. They get patents and hold on to them.
Okay, so I had a train of thought. I have blocks for this. Okay,
Thank you, Fox.
You're welcome. The disease impact, the thumped civilization always recovers stuff. This is predictive of past pandemics. How does it assume new pandemics that the Kim card says are coming?
Because we always rebound from pandemics.
Okay, the anti-correlation warrant says that pandemics can't cause extinction because the ones lethal enough all burn out, preventing spread. How does that assume pandemics that are genetically modified to surpass things like burn?
No, I don't know, that makes no sense. If they're so genetically modified that they can kill everyone, they kill their hosts. Really
But they could be genetically modified so they infect everyone and
this is very
then kill
good
everyone.
against this big future pandemic because those pandemics would kill their hosts before they can spread.
But genetic innovation could ensure that those pandemics don't activate until they have already spread to
lacks
everyone in
in
the
the
world.
warrant, Fox. There's no card that says that they could do that.
Well, our evidence says bioengineered pandemics.
And you think, okay, well, if they aren't going to kill people, then they aren't a problem. If they are going to kill people, they're going to burn out. That's all.
The hungry people won't go to work hard. Where is this responsive to that countries like Russia will intervene in the global stage to undermine, take advantage of
I answered the draw-in warrant. Your Cargill evidence just name drops the U.S. and Russia without any warrants for why they would get drawn in. They wouldn't want to intervene in.
Well, it says that they would
because it's
want
not in their
destabilization due to... Okay, fine. The certainty deficit, just the counterplan clarifies everything. Obviously, investors don't know about durable fiat. So how are they certain the counterplan won't just get rolled back?
How are they
Like
certain
it
the app
already
won't
happened.
get rolled back? The same
Because-
question applies to the app. All your questions about rollback equally far.
Spanish counterplan. Okay.
Wait, what was the first one?
Advantage counterplan.
I said Spanish.
Advantage counterplan. Okay. Econ. Prizes. Legitimacy deal.
You have to do this. How am I okay, what?
Econ. Prizes. So it's possible. Advantage counterplan concede for both. It's a test competition. K concede for both. In econ DA, they concede growth is high, so there's no risk of a straight turn. The growth on sustainable stuff is just a reason they can't solve. They can't solve AI bubbles, so it doesn't matter if it's unsustainable. The link chart doesn't affect that. But there's no monopolies offense anyways, because patents bad proofs are not more innovative for the economy. Price counterplan kick the planks to the edge. We're just going for abolish patents counterplan and generates uniqueness for the term because patents no longer exist. Permanent both is mutually exclusive. They have strengthened patents. Counterplan bans them. The permanent counterplan is separate from strengthened IP protection, but it's voting issue for app shiftiness and no links to net benefit because it abolishes patents. There's no reason why I would link this up. Rule of law outweighs and prevents every check to existential impact like nuclear war, environmental catastrophe, democracy, etc. That's the insurance case. No one invests in a world where rule of law is non-existent because it looks like Ukraine, COVID, 08, Israel, etc. all happening at one time, which destroys their markets and incentive to invest, solves terrorism, film and aid. Regulatory gives decision legitimacy around the midst of globalization, extreme difficulty of doing things successfully, needed one. Unless it's still husband or vessel, mistaken to abandon our position of leadership, rule of law, leadership matters, orientation of power, crazy to terrorism, nuclear federal states, unity, water, international organization, economic independence, corners become the cost of war, terrorism causes station for 19, nuclear, there's focus, nuclear war. Response to the government strikes terror, strong with the region of the blaze, confident escalated nuclear. The US reacted to chain reaction to understand nuclear confident good to see that. They involve every nuclear state, what in the entire species, atmospheric effects on an ecosystem, reduce the human effect on the planet, entire planet hotspot. Next, 2AC1 is that there's no link, but the planet bans judicial certainty once to respond to the court rules unpredictably without an applicable case in front of them, making the court look partisan and partial that averts judicial legitimacy. That's foreign Goldschmidt. The Satori and test case still links a perception apparatus that the case is literally perfect for them to rule on without looking like a reach at all. The only case they gave was a lab court, but it said about P-type invalidation is not antitrust. Fox clearly doesn't know what he's saying, and they don't get to pick new cases because they already chose them in the 2AC. Perfection is the minimum. Criminal 89, despite the discretion courts list of limited cases and issues. Litigant precedent this, which a score may not decide just any issue of the court, even an accurate score must provide it by the time. Whatever the perfect case by hearings to respond to court is the timing in a big country, the court is perceived as having a legitimate and unfair court risk. According to expresses on the soil, the system. B, beyond normal means should be establishing injunctive relief stands. A test case preferred. They allow tweaks reclarification of the spike out of DA specifying in their plaintext solves all of their offense in even if they bring up a case beyond saying, look like they're only pursuing their agenda, 98, the anti-majority, the proper judicial review depends on the fact that judges exercise the power only as to discuss between litigants could be rid of judges representatives pursuing their own agenda by seeking out issues to consider. Two grounds volatility. The function of the court is to decide controversies by explanation, reason, justification, deciding on cases on no evident grounds, deciding an ad hoc basis as a risk effects for the court of the judgment is simply the personal preference of the judges. The court is and then another partisan and political actor. 3 President Brendan 14 so decides identifies precedent such not be overrules for following mistaken precedent status as following rule of law including consistency of our constitutionalism constraints exercise arbitrary power to not score freedom to make and choose possible legitimacy course requires vote adequately justifications for this should form a coherent law. Then link case companies will be shocked by the flip-flopping and reduced investments muster and which are 19. The quantum ability can upset realized interest and create inadequate investments regardless of whether the changes in laws suffer harmful one matter expectations of first and then make investment decisions so long as the change in the law leads to the other changes maybe before the company negatively affect future investments that were occurring from making these investments at first. Through the innovations that will reduce will decide due to future changes in law that will reduce their investments in R&D accordingly, disrupting realized interest cascades, destabilizing the entire edifice of the energy sector version 21. Partition behavior and regulatory precedent will actually expect change time under wildly erratic indigenous stakeholders are and able to inoculate against unforeseeable swings over only established term good unsettled off closer to expectation cost and planning become a rated over example in energy that are capital intensive fixed assets must alter those or must accept loss extension of work 22 lost capital so emissions capital by clean air and water and recreating ecosystems questions how long benefits also your economy can decouple emissions common environmental degradation existential requests require which are prioritization climate is an urgent emergency AC reduce increasing war plan will apply for one pandemic but I mean like a
is also withstand a future disaster, common is emerging and will increase. Just as its magnitude of existential threat is evident and limiting, or as a 2 degrees more random area to recovery against, or working against intervention seemingly, updating development and renewable objective, risking investment to trigger property capital and ingenuity, to live for and reach wants to take what is of our security with high financial stability. 2AC2 is there's no sponte now, judges are restrained and only rule on the issues before them. That's poor engagement. There is a strong norm against sponte issue creation as still in 96 court received as advocates for review, which judging capital punishment for property competence golden, very great question about the question consider the question well beyond authority. The procedures was part of the practices, the norm establishes expectations about the judges should behave. Judges would be free to raise any issue like Congress and like jurisdiction distinction between raising an issue and deciding a case to respond. There's a tremendous difference between raising an issue and deciding to respond to the first. The worker gets an opportunity to respond to the second. The court will an issue without providing a notice of versus sometimes the second is all court should write is standing. Yes, respond to the fill the court's duties. Mark the card at duties. 2AC3 is that there's no legitimacy, but it's high now. The court has no respect now because they've been fully cut off their rails. And the case so bad because they are blatantly ruining the system. The examples they gave are relevant because each of them had their own support groups. No one likes to respond to violations. 2AC4, yes, in fact, it's not the judiciary not working. It's just lack of trust because other branches can't solve your perceptions about rule of law and the people perceiving the U.S. has no rule of law, even as there are other branches.
717.
Okay, the order is advantage 1, advantage 2. I'll be doing the patent stuff on advantage 2. Or advantage 1. The abolish counterplan, which I guess just like the prizes where they get and everything. The executive counterplan, and then the sua sponte dissent.
Sorry, standards, pharma, prizes, exec, sua sponte?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just make this prizes.
Yeah. Second event.
Go get.
It's diseases. Second event. You said first. Second event.
Second, it's pharma than standards.
Not standards. Just
Standard. Patent's good is on
You
standards.
should just start yapping. I'll figure
Wait,
it out.
you flip patent's good on standards.
I know.
So it's pharma standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good at flowing. Don't worry.
Alright, cool, thank you. On pharma, numerous studies prove that disease causes things as bioengineering and blowing past barriers as one come evidence does not assume future brain dynamics. The brain evidence genetically engineered to activate later. The fossil records genetically modified independently drop the new diseases trigger nuclear war through miscalculating killing. The leaders of Suzuki evidence of cyber evidence drop that no evidence says attacks are coming now, but patents increase innovation that are good for cyber and stop SC3 attacks. The Levine evidence on the patents, good evidence. IRD and Fox after this past 100 years have been the most innovative because the patents are Dan. A unit card is terrible. One investment solves startups benefit from investors who will be able to survive because of their investors too under the radar. Apple was completely ignored by big companies like BlackBerry because they thought it would fail. Happens with breakthrough innovations now. Patents are key. 3 toss-outs, of course, wouldn't allow you to bring through if it's baseless. And for the Robinson evidence is patents are really good for small business. The card flows out of Fox so that literally destroy this in cross-eggs. They can see patents are good if white people apply for them. Capital is worse because there's zero people get patents. That's also the reason people are not receiving patents now is because investors won't invest due to the degree of uncertainty. Only risk we make this quote better. The empirics evidence this goes our way. Fox did the work above. Suits are good. They create a more efficient innovation by providing revenue to startups. We're now in middle 124 development associated with increased implementation attributed and use value credit patent transfers the prior for the yield of many references patent transfers level the playing field by all says someone entries in the market knowledge companies sit patent just facilitate collaboration between companies that enable technology recombination invents further innovation and vendors are relevant. The money in the funds is completely lost in the logic but it flows our argument. They bad conversation not an argument when no link bad patents are so don't make money because no one buys their product to return price of the insurance policy for investors which incentivize some 3 antitrust laws, status quo, anti-competitive practices. The not-commercialized argument, it flows out only reason that patents are disclosed and no risk infringement. Patents are key for patent tickets and stop patent tickets because people lose the right to enforcement, which means the only for the patents is to cause disclosure and innovation. The evergreen argument. We don't have to answer that. The patents are good for startups. Stops on the evergreen is key for downturn innovation. Apple proves. The nearing evidence, pay for delay is wrong. It's strictly illegal under antitrust. No risk of this.
stacked. Okay, do watch.
Abolish can job from the Yafin abolish patents and all evidences no judge to gap strategy is based on that concessions abolish job that it causes offshore innovation decrease innovation. On the executive counterplan. Agent countables are bad. Steals the entire when negates after the ability to generate any deficits to enter into except only its arbitrary and small such as the population because it will be different every round. Internet flex topic is abandoned bias for the egg, aluminium 1% flips shows it, etc. This just evolves in the year 2.0. This topic is right for the neck. You get patents process, etc. They drop from limits on T, K's process, etc. All solves like flex negation theory, present an opportunity cost, but now that your counterplan is good, the process counterplan stays counterplan is complete, but it's still linked to Lopez and devolution complete to education. For in some ways it's unpredictable, mod burden, there's no agencies. King warns SOJ, King rule on the IVIP debates can question the actor and moves the topic from IP panel discussion for the branches which is bad. Arbitration does not impact. They should be able to be garbage to interpret the right. The theory is correct. Substance credit is turned by the ancient Cameroon. Or we only get able to the theory if you can't predict ancient Cameroon. You should lose. Obviously, you did because you had a blog. All deficits were inherent. This to see there are no viable deficits, and they all got applied to the app. That was conflict and the competition in courts. Key evidence: there are no warrants, and competitive counterplans can still be abusive. You should not get social competition. This was in cross. Also on the links to net benefit, the Reed said that like it doesn't link to net benefit, but if you look in the warrant and see uniqueness evidence and link evidence, it talks about judicial courts broadly, not about the federal circuit. So the plans, any ruling to any new changes would, even if it goes to judicial district court, would still be received as rulings responding. So responding is not just in the context of the Supreme Court. Look in their written evidence does not exist. Okay, let's respond to it.
Read this first.
Okay, into the terms case, durable fiat ensures enforcement, and all internal links are about investments. They say flips is thumped by a ruling like Chevron, another ruling to say flip flop undermines, which is obviously not no reason why they have this key is already thumped. No, okay, not to do that comment. They did terrorism.
They read.
Okay, they
read that card.
Okay, sure. No climate impact. Minimum 23 times remain in some proposals commenting performance projections. High temperature, no more condiment to the acts and how human influence the climate college trend. It changes 6 degrees impact. There would be a hardly capacity coming in civil lunar freeze. Evidence of the extension based project and always end reliable warming is a mild new common concentration. Whether it does have declined 90% mark at 99%. Can you give me terrorism impact? On the length debate, courts can always issue a registry to lower courts and demand that they hear them off the docket. That's specifically true for the app because they are linear patent infringements. Case in this court, specifically they can rule in LV court versus Apple States already the squo, but that's how the sui sponte works. That there are already cases in this court that we can rule in. Process made no sense. Judicial legitimacy, Oliver did not get this in time. Judicial legitimacy is low right now. Abortion rights, Chevron, gun laws, redlining Trump cases, all ruin judicial credibility. All Oliver says that people have support for this, but there is no evidence on saying that like this would outweigh all the hatred for this. Obviously, there are some people who support racialized redlining, but the majority of people would hate it, rejecting any internal link to solving any other terrorism impacts because there is no judicial legitimacy right now. Let's go. Partisan ruling internally selling those legitimacy territory. 21. The court's decision to hold women's health relevant dangers of lawful society. Don't have one ultimate partisan majority is obviously the rule on the court law authority decision. Racialized department insurance history of the court, and there is legal chaos may soon be realized in the court war between the states. The blue state erecting laws bringing laws against anti-vax. So there are other bans of guns. This takes out any internal link to any other impacts. So there's no nuke terror. Interlink thumps, no judicial legitimacy.
Great. That be standards?
That would be pharma.
Pharma.
Dissat, prizes, dissat, pharma.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Okay.
Terrorism outweighs is the only thing that upholds institutional checks or extinction from nuclear war by environmental collapse and democracy that's independently. It's key to prevent terror because rule law ensures that terrorists will be deterred from it because of retaliation. Terror causes extinction. They will get all of nuclear weapons and bombs and entomb the global war. That's various prioritized terror happens immediately because it's about perception of a strong rule while holding them back. The link is instant and collapse of credibility, making the U.S. look weak and vulnerable. You can only die once, which means you reverse short-term impacts over long-term scenarios that are solved by intervening actors. Late frames unique as judicial legitimacy may be iffy now, but you know for sure the AFTO's legitimacy 2 weeks for suicide. The courts are ruling the cases in front of them, then it's not applicable to their decision making because the courts are partial and partisan. That's poor. And Goldsmith, second grounds the rules in a case without listing any grounds for why they did so. It makes the courts look partisan because they rule without a clear decision. That's bull. And they conceded that Link turns case. The courts flip their decision. It was unreliable because they reverse past precedent. Preferred our evidence is specific, but there's a specific about who rely on the courts and give them a stable precedent to base their decisions on. The legitimacy is high now. Framing through league magnitude, there are obviously bumps in legitimacy rulings to Svante has been so rare and said the app is so egregious and is indefensible that when you are kind of list examples without any clear warrants about why they thumped it, but they are wrong. Cases like Roe v. Wade and Chevron still provides a report, especially because conservative groups but no one responds, no one respects to Svante. No writ absurd. No, conceded is not justified because it allows the app to spike out of links. Due to AC very clarification, we can't predict either way. They didn't say a case, so you don't know what it looks like, and it's a PTAP case. It doesn't make any sense. Prizes. Conceded counterplane test competition. Alliance of judging on the executive counterplane. Framing issue to counterplane solves all of the case, so we just have to win any recent ancient counterplanes are good to win the debate. And as antitrust agency issue 2019 guidance from Trump, from the Trump administration and the FTC to stop antitrust scrutiny that allows for patent holders to pursue exclusionary orders from the ITC. They can't do it now because the FTC and DOJ are giving guidance to the ITC to not give them out. That allows for them to functionally get injunctive relief, but not through the court system. tennis judge kick. The counterpoint, if we lose out perms to the links and net benefit, there's no warrant for why it's bad, and when he already conceded, it's a logical extension of conduct, which means you should get it. Agent counterplans are good. Henry spreads down Fox's blocks, but if without many warrants, if you didn't flow, don't give it to them because I didn't flow off the dock. They said offense, defense definitely goes neg. They dropped our interpretation, and executive counterpoint is the only one that we get on this topic. They also dropped defense, what I'll get to below, neg flex. We're going for neg flex and arbitrariness first. Neg flex, you should give the agent counterpoint. It's the only agent counterpoints are the only generic that applies to every AFL and every topic area. Frame it through uniqueness, no unifying generic on this topic. There's 3 topic areas and infinite patent tabs. When asking literally uphold this quote, we need agent counterpoints to get ourselves back in the game. Both teams agree that fairness outweighs, so it's only a question of who accesses a greater internal link. They cross-applied functional limits, but they definitely don't check. They just listed them without a warrant in the 2AC or 1AR. 2AR extrapolations are new, and they are functional limits because they definitely don't apply to every single AF on the topic, and teams will innovate out of them, but you can't innovate out agent counterplans because teams like to be vague in the plain text. Arbitrariness, non-resolution theory is bad. It gets rid of every counterplan eventually because they'll just say that those counterplans are bad. States counterplan bad. Get it out of here. Agent counterplans bad. Condition counterplans bad. Process counterplans bad, etc. No arbitrarily I exclude our counterplan in every debate. It's a question. Even it also frames through uniqueness because we don't have many counterplans now, so they get rid of all of them. Defense, first our interpretation solves, which was done above second reciprocity. They got deficits and could have claimed advantages based off the core action, which means that it's a reciprocal cost to bear the counterplan. Third, they dropped defense, winning competition, beats the counterplan. They could have gone for a permanent counterplan and said it, but they didn't, which means that counterplan is an opportunity cost to the plan. You shouldn't arbitrarily render it out. Also, they conceded course and Congress key warrants check which are above under a reciprocity debate. They could have impact turned democracy and that benefit for a straight turn to this side, which would have gotten them out of this pickle if they really didn't have a course key warrant. They also solvency advocates check their predictability argument. Because the counterplan needs a solvency advocate, it's not our fault. Their cause agree with the counterplan. More than the AF, no links to net benefit is incoherent. The counterplan issues guidance, but does not force the courts to rule. But the court's cases resulting would be normal. How normal court cases work. Not every court case is sua sponte. It's a question of whether the Supreme Court rules on a thing without a test case, which the counterplan definitely doesn't result in. Also, the counterplan wouldn't issue guidance to the Supreme Court, only lower courts, and to the ITC, which means it definitely doesn't impact it. A farmhand advantage, no disease impact, anti-correlation was caustic sound, but it was dropped by the 1AR. Diseases will kill their host before they can spread, especially because they're going for this big warning about how there's big future genetically modified diseases. Those would obviously kill the host before they can spread and be localized and burn out before they can get to everyone and cause extinction. Also, don't bypass diseases like COVID, Ebola, etc. Prove that there's resilience to the diseases. The OR card uses fossil records preferred, and he says that the impact starts at 0.1% chance, so that this side definitely outwins.
We'll be starting in 119.
Okay, do you have... Schweier die the counterpoint is illegitimate. It's easier coming in the short term, which guarantee cause nuclear escalation. Probability of case is 100% in the disad, or counterpoint doesn't solve it. Drop that they kill leaders and cause miscalculation. That was Suzuki. The effects of a disease escalate. Obviously, diseases kill leaders before they completely burn out, which means that this is isolated from the rest of the defense. Time frame flows out because we have predictive evidence about when diseases are coming, terrorists building nukes, and climate change take forever. Cooperation cannot resolve the case because absent the plan, it is insufficient. Investment fails, and the app solves specifically through pharma, which our internal links say are key. Cooperation to solve a pandemic requires one to come in the first place, which means that the app outweighs on time frame. Some risk of defense on the disad means that the app outweighs because the impact is bumped by the status quo, but you can resolve app impacts. No risk of an innovation, uncertainty, turn uniqueness determines the direction. It's already insufficient now, which goes conceded by the 2 and R, so there's only a risk that the app makes it better, especially because our app is contextualized to pharma. Theirs is not. The 0.1% stuff for reward obviously doesn't assume nuclear weapons or genetically engineered diseases that will be engineered to go off immediately after they've infected everyone through bioengineered pathogens, which means all past descriptive defense does not apply. The executive counterpoint. Extend our interpretation. Agent counterpoints are bad. They steal the entire app, and there's no viable deficit. The 2 and R drops at their interpretation. It's arbitrary too, and just rivals to all agent counterplans, which means that if they win agent counterplan spiraling, we also win it. First, the only argument they go for is neg flex, but they dropped at every topic as neg bias because of Elin flips and neg win percentage. That outweighs because it's the most predictive metric, and there's no objective way of determining what ground would look like. Only it can't. They also drop functional limits. They just said they don't apply, but obviously things like K's and process counterplans can be read against every app. It's a K and a process counterplan. They said that apps can't innovate out of adjacent counterplans, or at least that was what I flowed. Will agree with it, which proves that they are bad. The arbitrariness stuff is not an impact because they dropped every warn. If your counterplan is good, you don't get our counterplan. The remedy for not having blocks to why our counterplan is good is a loss. Framing issue because if they can't defend why their counterplan is good, you should have no viable neg ballot because obviously the impact is arbitrariness is it spirals to you don't get our counterplan. But if the neg is right, that X counterplan is good, and the app makes the arbitrary theory interpretation that only the state's counterplan is bad, then obviously the neg should be able to defend that the state's counterplan is good. Now, there's no coherent deficits. That was the 2NC and 2NC cross-X, especially for camp apps. You contextualize it to that. The drop competition proves, I explicitly answered this, there are obviously counterplanes that are competitive that are still bad, like States and Lopez. They obviously compete, but there's no viable app deficits. The only other argument was that we can straight turn a disad. That's impossible with sua sponte, which is the disad they went for. And teams will read non-impact turnable net benefits like judicial legitimacy or public perception or, I don't know, what's another non-impact turnable impact?
Huh?
Like truth decay.
Don't ask me.
Need a solvency advocate doesn't check because there's infinite other things. They also conceded their counterplan is anti-educational because it distorts. Sua sponte. Judicial legitimacy sucks right now. Abortion rights, whole woman's health for Jackson. Deck judicial legitimacy. Even slightly right people did not like it. Felt like an overstretched judicial power, especially because it was on a 5-4. That's Sarah 21. Framing issue only. We have evidence on this question that prices in what the public perceives on what judicial legitimacy is now, but obviously the app outweighs because counterplan is illegitimate whatever anyway. Chevron, mass hatred from all agencies and district courts across the parties. 3 gun laws. A good amount of Republicans are pro-gun reform. 4 redlining. The Supreme Court has some massive hate. Redlining is dropped there at the state level. No global people receive it as their overreach. Their votes don't matter. Trump cases. Supreme Court is more polarized than ever. Sotomayor and Jackson are more monsters died than ever. Angered left. Dropped the state courts have lack of judicial legitimacy. Spills out and dumps impacts at federal level. Average citizens perceive state legislative federal law. And blue states are mad. Red states for anti-vax laws. And red and blue for gun bans. None of their evidence is predictive about personal perception. Even if abortion rights and Chevron have support. Drop the gun laws and redlining thumped judicial legitimacy, which means that the risk of the disad starts low and there's a 100% risk of case. Even if sua sponte is unpopular, it doesn't assume current lack of support at the courts right now. It takes out any risk of an impact. Now, the 2 and ARC tries to go for link determines uniqueness. That's literally incoherent because obviously uniqueness determines the link, especially in this impact, especially in a debate where where it's try or die, uniqueness determines the link. If the impact is inevitable, then that can't be a reason that the app is bad because it's descriptive of why the status quo already is a problem. Now, they say Roe v. Wade provides support because conservative groups support it, but first of all, not all conservatives support it, and all of Dems don't, which undermines judicial legitimacy. They said sua sponte, but that's irrelevant because the internal link to the disad is judicial legitimacy, which means that if judicial legitimacy is already now, it's irrelevant whether sua sponte. Framing issue, all of their evidence is about why judicial legitimacy underlines these impacts like global cooperation, but if that already is thumped in the status quo, it doesn't matter if sua sponte is undermined because the disad does not solve the impacts in the status quo, which obviously means that uniqueness determines the links. Then not justified because it allows apps to spike out of links. I don't understand this. There's an 100% risk of case. The counterplan is illegitimate. We're clearly winning that our model is better. There's no viable deficits. The disad is thumped.
Good job, guys.
That was
Thanks
great.
out of all 4 of you. Very good.
That was really great.
What?
That's from sua sponte.
Yeah, it's sua sponte.
It's not conflict.
Oh, I don't. Well, I always call it sua sponte.